Welcome back YouTube family for this Java full stack made easy session 5. So in the last session we discussed about the last thing that we discussed was about the strings and the integer, the wrapper classes. So we discussed about boxing in our previous example. How do we convert a primitive into a class type and the class type into a primitive type? So let us now discuss a bit about string and then we will move ahead with this session now. Okay, so let's talk about a string class and how a string class is created, the functions that are there in the string class, and what is the immutability of the string, which we generally talk about. And this is something which is even asked in the interviews, whether string is immutable or not, and what do you mean by an immutable object and all. So we will understand that with simple examples. So here we go. I'm going to create a simple string variable. Let's call it as str equals to a string, let's say hello. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to say str dot concat. Okay, and I want to concatenate world with hello, and hello I'll give some space here, and I'll try to do a system.out.println, and then I'll try to print str. Okay, so the work of a concat method is to concatenate. That means it's to combine this hello and world with it. And now I'm trying to see what is this and how this works, and the expected result is hello world. Let's see what is the actual result here. So when I try to run this, it just tells me that it is hello. It is not giving me hello world. Now the question comes up into our mind, why is it not giving us hello world? Okay, so in the next example, what I'm going to do is I'll say str equals to str dot concat, save it and run this, and now I'll see the result, and now the result says hello world, which means concat method is doing its work. Okay, from the previous example also, concat method was actually doing its work. Concat method is used to concatenate two strings. Okay, so it was doing its work, but why without giving this reference here, why is it not taking it as hello world? Why is it considering it as hello? So to understand this, we need to know one thing in Java that is called as the string constant pool, which is a special memory area for string literals in Java. So let's go ahead and understand what is that. So let's go to our paint and understand the special memory area called as string constant pool in Java, and why in the first example I was not getting hello world, and why in the second example I'm getting it as hello world. What is basically happening behind the scenes? So I have taken two things. This is something which is giving me a different result, and this is something which is giving me a different result. So we will see both the results and everything. So one thing is this which was happening in the previous example. So let's take that, and also we'll take one more example where we had written str equals to, and this was giving us a different result. So both codes we will take here, and we will analyze both the codes. So let's understand both of them one by one. So here, let me first draw a string constant pool, which is just a special memory area created for storing string literals. So now, first line of code, it says string str equals to hello. That's fine. So there is a reference variable called as str created, and there is an object of string created called as hello. Str, string str equals to hello. That means string str is actually pointing to a object called as hello, which is present into the SCP, which is string constant pool. Okay, so string constant pool is a special memory area where string literals are stored. So this is what was happening in the first case. Line 1, string str equals to hello. So there is a str reference variable created pointing to object called as hello and space. And then we have written str.concat world. So this line of code str.concat world, what it is doing is it sees what is str hello, concat what world. So it is actually creating another string literal called as hello world, and nobody is referring to this. Since nobody is referring to this, hello world is lost in the memory, whereas str is still holding the reference to hello. That is why when we print this system.out.println, because str is pointing to hello itself, we were getting the result as hello itself in scenario number 1. So this is what was happening when we were writing these line of codes. So two objects of string are created. One is hello, another one is hello world. Because str is referring to hello, we have lost this object hello world in string constant pool. The second example that I have given, let's again put that into a picture and understand it. Once again, we have a string constant pool, and line 1 says str is referring to hello. So there is one str hello space is created for you, and next line says str equals to. So first str was pointing to this hello, then it says str equals to str.concat. So whenever we say str equals to str.concat, so this reference is gone. A new reference is formed for this str, because str equals to is what we are saying. Str equals to str.concat. So str.concat does what? It creates a new object called as hello world. Now str is pointing to hello world. That is why while printing this line str system.out.println in the second example, it was showing us the result as hello world. Okay, so this is what is happening. You can test it once again. In the first case, it was printing us hello. In the second case, when we write str equals to str.concat, it was printing us hello world. Let's go back and see that. So when I don't put this reference here, str will still be referring to hello. That is why we will get the first result as hello. Now if I write str equals to, I am changing the reference of that str to the newly created object hello world. So str will be referring to a newly created object called as hello world. But notice one important point: in both the scenario, there are two objects being created. Here also an hello world object is created. Here also an hello world object is created. So this is how string constant pool is created. Now what do we mean by object immutability? String objects are immutable. That means they are rock solid. They cannot be modified. They cannot be changed. So once you create a string object, it remains as it is. What do I mean by that? See, when I am writing something like str.concat world, it is not modifying this particular object. It is creating a whole new object for us, right? So that's what immutability is all about. String does not change the existing object. In turns, it creates a new object in the memory. Now you might say, why did they create a memory in this way? Why are they creating a separate memory and separate objects? What is the advantage of that, right? So limitation we have seen. Every time we manipulate a string object, a new object is created, and you can say this is the waste of memory, right? So there are always two faces of a coin, right? So let us now see where does this same situation, exact same situation, brings us an advantage. So let me give you that example as well. So now, as I told you, string constant pool, every time we perform any manipulation on this, it is actually creating a new string object. Now why is that? That is because, see, what happens in Java is, if I create something like string a equals to hello, so in string constant pool, a hello object will be created and a will be referring to that hello. So whenever I write that line, there will be a reference variable created, a, outside the string constant pool, and it will be referring to hello inside the string constant pool. Now once again, if I come up here and create something like string b equals to hello, what happens is a reference variable, new reference variable b is created, but a new hello object will not be created. B will also be referring to the same hello. If I create string c equals to hello, c will also be referring to the same hello. String d equals to hello, d will also be referring to the same hello itself. That means string constant pool does not store duplicates or duplicate objects. Okay, it does not. duplicate object. So if it does not duplicate the object, at that time we get an advantage. What is that advantage? We are saving a lot of memory there, right? So in this example we are saving memory. If we create more string objects, all of them will be created as one string object in string constant pool, and all of these reference variable will be holding to the same string object itself. Okay, this saves us the memory. But when we try to do something like this, that means manipulation on the string objects, at that time we tend to waste the memory. So mainly this string, this is the advantage why string constant pool was created that way. And because there might be situations like this, that is why Java says whenever you have manipulations on string objects, do not use just the string class. So Java has provided us alternative classes where we have manipulations on the string object. So before going to those alternative classes, I hope that you have understood the concept of string constant pool and how exactly the string works behind the scene when it comes to the memory. Okay, after that we will see the alternative classes that are available, difference between those alternative classes and all that. But before that, I hope this concept about the objects is pretty much clear to you here. Okay, so now going back here, I'll use more string class methods. Like for example, if I use something like string s1 equals to hello, say hello, and what I'll do is I'll simply try and write s1 dot to uppercase. So I'm just trying to convert that into an uppercase, and then I'll do a system dot out dot println. So before I run the result of this, I want you to guess what's going to be the result of this piece of line. So let's save it and run this and see what's going to be the result. I hope that by now, like what I discussed in the previous example, I hope now you have already guessed the result of this. So let me run this and check whether what you have guessed is correct or not. Yes, if you have guessed it, it is going to be hello as it is correct. If you have guessed that hello will be converted into uppercase, you have to go back to my previous example and understand what is happening in the string constant pool. So instead of writing this concat, if I write it as two uppercase, yes, there will be one capital case hello created and there will be one small case hello created. This S1 will still be referring to the previous hello itself. That is why the newly created capital case hello is lost in the memory. And to resolve that, what we have to do is we have to simply say S1 is equal to S1 dot to uppercase. Now it will be referring to a uppercase hello, but what is lost in the memory, a hello with this case, that is capital H and ELLO, will be lost in the memory. So do remember, anytime you try to manipulate string objects, string are immutable and you tend to create more objects into string constant pool, and because you don't have references to those objects, they will be lost in the memory. So this is how your string works. So let me first put this into the repository, and I will also write this previous example and put it under the comment. So while you are practicing, you uncomment this first and check the result, and then you check the result of this. Okay, so I hope you are also practicing these things that I am explaining here, because watching my videos alone might not help you 100%. Okay, so I always suggest people to practice the things that we have discussed here. So this is our day 5. So let me create a new repository for day 5. This will be our day 5, day 5, and that's demo 1. Let's call it as string. Okay, and because the string cannot be changed, cannot be modified, that's why we say string is immutable. It is rock solid, it cannot be changed. Once a string is created, it is created, it cannot have any modification on it. So I also encourage you to look for other methods into string class, like I have discussed only a concat and uppercase method into string. You can explore more string class methods on your own. Either this IDE will help you to understand more methods present into string class, like when you write any string s1 dot, and if you move over these methods, it will automatically tell you what this method is all about, what it does, and what are the parameters that it takes, what it returns. So the whole description is given to you here, content equals, so maybe whatever method you are checking, you can simply go ahead and check those methods. Any method that you want to compare, that you want to analyze, you can have it here. Okay, so you can see that equals method is there, equals ignore case method is there, get bytes is there, so is empty, is blank, all these methods you have to explore on your own, because I cannot keep on explaining you every single method here, else there will be a lot of videos in the same series. So this is one way how you can explore the string class methods, or there is another way of understanding those string class methods in details. So what you can do is you can go for official documentation for this string. So you just type in string class in Java and go for the Oracle official documentation, string class, and then understand. You can also see that string is immutable, strings are immutable, any modification creates a new string object. So that is what we have talked about. Store, and the string literals are stored in string constant pool. So these are some things that we have already discussed. So what you can do is you can always see for this oracle.com documents.oracle, this is the official documentation page for string class. Now you just open it and you understand the structure of it. String class, who is the parent of string class? Every class in Java is a child of object class, so string class parent is object class, and then it implements all these interfaces. We will talk about all what these things are and what interfaces are and all that in our later sessions. Also, string class is final class. Final class cannot be subclass. We will talk about what exactly is final class and what is subclassing a class. Okay, now what you can do is you can read about the string here, details about the string, and I was telling you about exploring the methods of string class. So you can see it here. It gives you what all arguments a string constructor takes, or it will also give you the method summary, like two of the methods we have already used in here in our example, which is what concat method and two uppercase method. So you can see the details about that concat and two uppercase method. So you can see that concat method is what I was taking, and it takes one string argument, does what concatenates the specified string to the end of this string. Okay, so that's what I have done. A concat method is taken, a string argument is passed here, it is concatenating the current string, which is str, which was hello, to the end of this hello. It has concatenated the given argument, that is world. So that is about the concat method. And similarly we have a two uppercase method used here. So we can go down and see where is that two uppercase method. Okay, so here is two uppercase. What it does, two uppercase, again just takes nothing at all, two uppercase, no argument. Here this method is what we have used, converts all the characters in this string to uppercase using the rules of the default locally. Okay, so that's what it has done. So I encourage you to look for more methods available into string class. Okay, so now I will be focusing on one important method, that is equals method of a string class. Okay, and this is once again most commonly asked interview question, an equals method. Okay, so this equals method takes an object, compares the string to the specified object. Point number one is that equals method does not belong to the string class. Equals method is actually a method of the object class. So because the object class is parent of this string class, string can easily take that method. So because of that itself, we are getting a equals method here. So let us understand an equals method, and in what scenario, what situation we would be needing a equals method. Why not? Equals method is used to compare two string, is what it says. So let's go ahead and understand how we are using an equals method and the string comparison in there. So what I have is, I have a string A equals to, let's say, Java, and string B equals to Java again. So now I will compare A dot equals. I'm comparing whether A equals to B or not, and I want to get the result of this. And the result of this equals method will be what? It will return you either true or false, whether both are same or not. If I put my cursor on this, you can notice that the return type of this method is boolean. It is going to give us a boolean result, whether it is true or false. So I will store that boolean result into a variable called as result, and then I will try to print it whether it is true or false. Okay, so I'm comparing A and B. Both A and B are Java, so the result must be true. That's fine. So here is where I'm using an equals method. But what you can say is, why to use an equals method? Up to now, whatever programming we have done, we used to use an equal to operator for comparison, right? So let us go ahead and see whether our equal to operator is going to return us true in this scenario or not. So let's go here, boolean result 1, and instead of writing an A equals B, I will be using A equal to B. So when I do a equal to B and check the result for A equal to B, let's see whether it is going to return us true or not, because still both the values are same itself. So when I run this, even equal to operator is returning us true itself. So why should we be using an equals method? What scenarios equals method is created? So let me give you one more example for the same. Now what I'm doing is, instead of creating this string A and B, let me create string A1 and B1, and instead of directly writing this string literal here, I will be creating a new string object. Okay, and here also I'll be creating a new string object. Okay, only difference that I have done, only difference between these two is that a new string object is created. So in the previous example, if we think of a memory, what exactly was happening was this. I had a string constant pool, and in that string constant pool there was one Java created here, and both A and B were referring to the same value Java, right? So equals method and equal to operator both gave us the same result itself, right? Both gave us true and true. Now what I will do is, I will now check this Java here with an equal to operator and change this result 1 to result 2 and see the result. So here also I'm expecting this to return me true because both contains Java itself. And for your understanding, I will print those two values as well, system.out.println, the value of A1 and the value of B1. Both A1 and B1 are definitely Java itself. So let me save it and run this and see the result. So you can see that both A1 and B2 are Java, and equal to check the result for this result 3, A1 equal to B1 or not, and result 3. Let's now test whether it returns us true or false. So when I run this, I was actually expecting this also to be returning me true because A1 and B1 both are Java itself, both are same, still it is returning me the result as false. So what is the reason? Why is it returning us false? And let's compare the same thing with what? With an equals method and test it. So boolean result for A1 dot equals B1. So result 4, let's print result 4 and see what is the result. So in this case it was returning us false when we were using an equal to operator. Now we are using an equals method. Let us test whether it returns us true or false. So it returns us true. So what can we conclude? We can conclude that equals method checks the equality of the objects of the variables, even if they belong to a separate object, even if it has a separate new memory created for it. So what is happening in this case? What has happened is, obviously this Java or whatever is stored in the string constant pool, that's fine. what was happening before was these two A and B, while creating just as string A equals to and string B equal to, at that time it was just a simple reference variable. Now the moment I say a string A1 equals to new string, so whenever we say a new string, we know that an object is created, right? New memory is allocated. So second line of code, what I have written is, I've written B1 equals to new string. So this new string is causing us to create two string objects. Don't focus on the value of it as for now. Forget about the value. Okay. Obviously the value same, but talk about the memory for this string object and this string object. Both are holding a reference to different memory. If the memory address for this object is x1, the memory address of this can be x2. It will not be the same. Okay. And in this case, string A, string B, both are just the reference variable holding the reference to the same memory itself here. Okay, because it was holding the reference to the same memory of string constant pool, the equal to operator was giving us true. Since here the memory addresses are different, although the value is same, memory addresses are different. Because of this different memory address, equal to cannot compare two different memories, whereas equals method is able to compare two different memories and check whether the value given inside that is equal or not. So I hope you have now understood in what scenario equals method is better than equal to. And equal to will be beneficial to us while we are working with primitive values, or while we are working with simple string literals which does not point to different memories. Whereas an equals method can come into picture even if two string objects are referring to two different memories. It is going to check for the value equality. So main basic examples, see this is something which will be useful in the real time. Suppose if we are creating any web page, like for example in your whenever you forget the password, right? So on websites you forget password. So when you forget the password, what they ask you is, they ask you to enter new password and confirm password. So this new password and confirm password both should be same, right? So you have to compare both of them. A new password and the confirm password are same or not. So this is present in a different text box and this is present in a different text box. So because they are present in two different text boxes, obviously they will be having two different memories. So to compare these two different memories, the value present into these two memories, in this scenario only an equals method can come into picture. Equal to will fail here. So in real time, most of the time we use equals method whenever, like in fact most of the time the object memories will be different. So whenever there are different memories needs to be compared with its value, we go for an equals method rather than going for an equal to operator. When equals method belongs to the object class, it's not the method of a string class. String class has modified the behavior of an equals method. I hope now you have understood the concept of an equals method in string class. So let me once again put this details into the repository. Day 5, let's add another demo here, demo 2, which is about equals method. Equals versus equal to. So this is commonly asked again interview question for Java beginners, or at least 0 to 2 year experience Java people. This is a commonly asked interview question, and if you are able to explain this, it is well and good. I hope by this example you will be able to explain the exact difference between equals and equal to. Now string class also has a method called as equals ignore case. Let me go ahead and first of all let's only keep the last results, that is new string objects. That's fine. So in this case what am I doing is, I'll just be doing what equals, whether these two are equal or not. So I save and run it. Equals method, two separate object, it has to return as equals itself, right? So what I'll do is I'll say Java, and maybe I'll say Java in capital case here, right? So Java is case sensitive, right? So small case j and capital case J is not the same. So obviously, although the value is same, but in a different case, equals method says that the values are not equal, right? So it returns us false, and that is correct itself. If we are uh, thinking that Java is uh, case sensitive, right? So because Java is case sensitive, small case Java and capital case Java will not be same. But whenever suppose you are sending, maybe an email is being sent, suppose you want to try and send an email, maybe you want to send an email to, let's say, John at gmail.com. so when you write this email address, John at gmail.com, or you write an address like John at gmail.com, anytime whenever you're asking for an email address, email addresses are not case sensitive. Most of the people believe that email addresses are case sensitive, but no, you can try this in real time also. Email addresses are not case sensitive. So what should I as a developer be doing when a user gives me the value but in different case? So I have to ignore the case and check the equality. So Java says us, don't worry, I already have a method that checks the equality even if the cases are different. So what is that method? Present into a string class that checks the equality of the object, even if it is that checks the equality of two different objects even if they are written in different cases. So result 5, even dot equals, instead of equals go for equals ignore case. So that means check the equality whether two values are equal or not, but ignore the case of that. So while ignoring the cases, both are Java itself, so I'll get the result as true. So this is one more important method available into string class called as equals ignore case. So let me put this also into the repository, and yes, again, that is also a helpful method. Like I gave you an example of an email. So if you're doing something like that where you want to compare the values but without bothering about its value, you can go for an equals ignore case method. Okay, so let me put this into the repository, commit this. Okay, now we talked about the immutability of the string constant pool, and some of the string class methods. Okay, so there are a lot more string class methods that we can discuss, but also one important thing that we have discussed when we were discussing about the memories. So in both the cases that we have discussed here, scenario 1 and scenario 2, that is string constant pool. So whatever we have discussed here, string constant pool does not duplicate the objects. So because it does not duplicate the objects, every time it is creating a new object, right? So every time I try to manipulate string objects, it creates a new object, and that will be a waste of memory, because in this scenario, world was lost because nobody was referring to it, and in this scenario, hello was lost because nobody was referring to it. Now what is the solution for this? The solution for this is going to be the alternative classes which I talked about. Java provides you the alternative of string. Whenever you have manipulation on string objects, you can use the alternative class for string. So about this alternative class, which is string buffer and string builder, we will discuss in our next video. Let's keep these videos short and simple, and also, like I always tell you, please practice whatever I am discussing here, and if you are finding any difficulty, to comment on the video, and let me increase the efficiency, the quality of the contents that I am delivering. And if you need any help, you can comment on this video, do like this videos, and encourage me to create more such content. See you in the next session.